Take this overboard now.
What's poppin' T Squad? It's me, Keisha, and I'm here with this week's All Tea, All Shade BMF Season 2, Episode 4 review. But before I begin, I have some behind the scenes tea for you guys. So Tonasia, the real life Markeisha, has had a lot to say on her social media since Season 2 has been airing. I told you guys that she has not been very pleased with Lala playing her on the show, and the fact that the writers nor producers or anybody reached out to her to, get her side of the story, to have any input or anything. So this is what she had to say this week on Instagram. She said, "Bosses don't just come in the form of men in Detroit, but the ladies stand on business as well. People keep asking me why they didn't use my name, but they clearly used the story of my past. They made up stories about Terry and Meech's relationship with their children mothers. Why be so close to my character? If you clearly didn't want me to be involved, I think if I have to watch a character play out my past at Lala, she's a very beautiful woman. It would have truly been an honor if we could have gotten to know me, who I was back then. At Stars, you don't get to exploit my abuse, the trauma, what I suffered. That was not your story or Terry's story. You don't use the trauma of my past. What happened with me and my ex was our history, our past. It took me years to work through the trauma, years of working on me. That's my story. Y'all made up everyone else's story, but used mine. That wasn't fair to me or my family. Me and my father car company, that was his legacy. And yes, I got those contracts from the airport for our car company. What I feel about the writing, what y'all feel. Y'all want to know why they used my story. They clearly was in the writer's room telling them I got the no-fly zone. Ask them. Why a government informant gets to eat off my blood, sweat, and tears. Oh, is that a shot at 50? Or Terry? I don't think it's Terry. I think more so 50. Anyway, I can't answer any of those questions. I'm not mad or bitter. Little hurt, maybe because I know what was said about me to those execs. Well, who said what about her? In those meetings. So when people ask me, I can't explain, but what I do know, God has something great for me. Keep watching. Hashtag I am Markeisha Taylor. At Stars, it's business." So at this point, I want to know, are you going to sue? Like, what's going on? Because like I said, every week she has been voicing her opinions on the show and how she is not pleased with the fact that they have been using her likeness and her story on this show without her permission or anything. So I don't know, Bernie. Looks like things are not really that good between her and Terry, like I was trying to tell y'all, but nobody wants to listen to me. But anywho, let's get into tonight's episode. So we start off with Meech in the hospital after getting pow-powed by Lamar and his family, his baby mama. Everybody is worried, sick about him. He ends up waking up in the hospital, you guys, not really knowing what's going on, what's happening, and he finds a strap in his bed, and he looking like, who then put this pow-pow in my bed, child? And then walks in Terry to let him know, I wanted to make sure you was good when I wasn't around. And so, he making jokes or whatever Meech is, because, everything is funny to Meech. And Terry like, look, we got to get you up out of here before this crazy MF come back in here and try to finish the job. And Meech is like, I'm not scared of that nigga, like, fuck Lamar. You know what I'm saying? So he like, man, I ain't trying to hear what you saying. We getting you out of here. So he pulls Meech up out of the hospital bed and escorts him outside where they partner in the car. And they partner just like, I think his name was Ronaldo or Radar or something like that. He was just like, thank you for saving my life. You took them, pow pows for me or whatever. He was like, no matter what, I'm going to always hold you down. I got your back for life. Then we see Lamar Crazy Butt walking around the hospital after coming up out of another body bag. This nigga popping up like the Crypt Keeper everywhere. Like, Lamar is the funniest yet scariest villain I have ever seen in my life, because how are you walking around this hospital in a doctor's uniform but with some green gator boots on? Like, please make it make sense. And how is nobody peeping this man walking around with gator boots and he's supposed to be a doctor, child? Well, anywho, he ended up going to Meech's room to finish the job, but lo and behold, when he busts inside the room, Meech is gone. He is too late. So, of course, he is mad, honey. He is pissed off. Terry ends up taking Meech to his baby mama house to hide out because nobody knows where she lives and don't nobody really know much information about her. But baby mama like, y'all ain't about to bring that mess over here. Like, I live here. Our daughter lives here. My parents live here. And they was like, Lamar don't even know who you are. And she was like, Lamar, oh, you done lost your damn mind. Bringing that mess over here. I ain't trying to die behind you. So she freaking out or whatever, but yet and see it Thompson, you need some aspirin. Oh my God. Oh Lord. No. So, Meech is once again making a joke out of everything. B Mickey looking like, dang, like, homie, you was the man, homie. And he was just like, low key feeling bad about everything that went down, because low key it was somewhat his fault. Like, he knew what he was about to do, to his partner, to his man 50 grand. So Terry like, look, I'm taking over things while you recuperate. And B Mickey like, excuse you, like, you are not a part of the crew no more. I'm number 2. I am the Kelly to his Beyonce, and you are the Michelle. And Terry like, I'm his brother at the end of the day. I'm really Solange, fool. And yes, I will be stepping up. And so B Mickey got an attitude because now his position is being threatened, even though he was, fretting about being number 2 because he knows what he's been pushed to do on the back end with Detective Brian, which is set his homie up. So he in between a rock and a hard place. So Meech like, look, it's a drought right about now. We need some bricks or whatever. He was like, go visit Pat. Terry like, that was your dude. He don't really mess with me or whatever. He was like, I can go holler at somebody. He was like, no, do what I say. Go holler at Pat. So Terry ended up leaving. And of course, Terry don't listen to nothing that Meech says or whatever, which in this case ended up being a gift and not a curse. So Terry ends up going to visit Markeisha at her job and asks her to hook him up with her crazy husband Boom so he can get some bricks. And she like, oh, so that was what the kiss was about. Like, you was basically using me to get next to my dude. Like, you ain't even have to do all that. And he was like, come on now, like, I really got feelings for you. I'm really digging you. I really like you and everything, but I'm in a spot right about now. My brother just got by pow or whatever. Like, I'm going through a lot. Meanwhile, she over here looking like Rocky by the face because this nigga been over there pounding on her like he Ike Turner or some shit. So at first she was hesitant, but then she was like, all right, I got you. I'll, make sure that y'all at the same place at the same time, but keep this between us. Like, she really starting to feel homie. Now, even though Meech done got pow 3 times, he gets called into the police station by Detective Brian and Detective Jen, and lo and behold, guess who's in the same room is Lamar, who is handcuffed to the table. And they both like, what he doing here? And it's like, is this Leave It to Beaver? Like, what is going on here? So they like, he's being accused of, pow-powing you. Can you identify him? And Meech was like, I ain't doing it. Like, I'm not scared of him. Like, I'm good. Like, if that's all, arrivederci. But before he can even leave the room, him and Lamar have this weird conversation about Batman and Robin. And it was like, okay, this was a little cheesy right about now. The writers did not have to write that little Batman soliloquy. Like, it was really gimmicky and could have really been kept. So Meech ended up chucking him up the deuce and leaving. And Detective Brian and Detective Jen leave Lamar crazy butt in the room because they was like, we holding you until we can't hold you no more. And this man starts singing, happy it is in the air. Da, 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 da. And I'm like, nigga, you are not Frankie or Beverly or Maze. But he low-key had a really nice voice on him though. I was like, get it, Lamar. Lamar love him some oldies, child. We then head over to the church where, Lucille likes to spend her spare time, child. And I could fairly probably guess it was a weekday because that's where she stayed. That's her club. And Pastor Snoop asked the congregation to pray for Meech. And half of the congregation get up to lead. They was like, girl, we ain't doing that. We didn't pray for this fool I don't know how many times. We are tired of praying for him. And so Lucille get up was like, we not about to do that because Sister Jean, I was praying for you when your husband was cheating on you and gave you the clap. And Sister Beverly, I was praying for you when your son got locked up for breaking in to Sister Joanne's house. And she was like, if y'all don't pray for me, that's saying that I don't deserve for my children to be, in good health and, to be prayed for and da-da-da-da. She on her soapbox. And Pastor Snoop was like, yeah, congregation, today's sermon is over. So Lucille go up to Charles, was like, I'm ready to go, Charles. I'm ready to go. And so he was like, look, take the car keys. I'm gonna, break down the equipment and have my partner drop me off. So she like, all right. So she go to leave, and here come Lil Sleazeball coming up to him, talking some Charles, you got a good son, you a good father, and da-da-da-da-da-da, and putting her hand all on his chest, and he feeling himself, because he likes to be praised, honey. And they having a whole conversation. And next thing you know, Lucille was like, Charles, I said, let's go. Cause she ain't no fool. She see what's going on. She see that this lady trying to spread her legs for her husband and he trying to fall in between them, honey. And I'm like, girl, go ahead and let him, cause she gonna realize sooner or later that he ain't about nothing and he ain't got no money, child. Lamar goes over to his boo thang house to get him some punani. Now, this the fat girl that he was knocking down last season in the bathroom at the Dairy Queen or wherever they was at. So, he happy to see her. She happy to see him, because they have a good old time with each other. Lamar don't discriminate. So that mean I got a chance. He like fat girls. You know what I'm saying? I got a little stomach. You know what I'm saying? What's good? We can lift it up. You can get underneath her. So, mind you, he got a whole colostomy bag, y'all. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. And he trying to smash. And you can't have sex until like 3 months after you just got a colostomy bag. And I'm speaking for somebody that had a colostomy bag for 6 months, 10 years ago. So his little boo thing was like, we need to wait. And he was like, no, I'm going to be able to get into it. And so she steady trying, and he just can't get into it. Like his little thing not getting up or whatever. So he was like, man, forget this. And he got mad and he left. And I was like, see, if you was with me, you would have never had them problems, because I would have gave you some of that awesome Johnson. Donnell Rollins' character comes home to Lamar being at his crib, and he like, dude, you stink, you funky, you need to wash in between your legs, okay? Because you got my house smelling like butt crack, and you need to empty your bag. Like, dude, like you just can't be walking around my house gotten it smelling like a dumpster truck or like a baby's diaper. And Lamar was like, look, I need your help, with emptying my bag. He was like, look, dude, I ain't gonna continue to do this for you. Like, I'm gonna help you out one more time, but this is my last time. So he sits down and Lamar takes off his bag. First of all, if you've ever had a colostomy bag, you have not taken that bag off the way that he took it off. He just took it off like it was nothing. First of all, when you have a colostomy bag, and the writers and everybody should have really done their research, that sucker is stuck to your stomach. First of all, it is stuck. Like when I had mine, I literally had to peel mine off in the shower with water. That's how stuck it would be to your stomach. It ain't that easy to take off, first of all. Then when he took the bag off and he's standing there, and then they show where his, colon was supposed to be sitting out. His intestine was supposed to be sitting out. The size of it is the size that it would be after 6 months. That's not how it looks when you're fresh out. Now, mind you, he fresh out the hospital. So that piece of intestine would have been maybe like a little bit smaller than a tennis ball, y'all. And it's literally looks like your gut sitting on the outside of you. The way they had it looking is how mine looked after 6 months, because it gets smaller and smaller and smaller the more that your stomach heals. So they didn't do a good or a believable job with this whole colostomy thing. And like I said, he would have never been able just to rip it off like that and then just been standing there so casually, like because you don't have any control over when you go to the bathroom. You don't feel it happening. You feel it happening sometimes, but for the most part, you don't know when you gonna go. You don't have any warnings. It just happens. So he wouldn't have just been standing there like all lackadaisical, because he could have literally poo-pooed on himself and, it would have been all over his foot. Child, it happened to me once. TMI, but it did. But they didn't do a really good job with this whole colostomy bag thing. It was so unrealistic, so terribly unrealistic. For somebody straight out of the hospital, he would not have been able to even stand up. He would have been on his back, laying down, getting that bag changed, honey. You're not just up running around willy-nilly after having your stomach split open. And then that's a whole nother thing. They just had the bag sitting there. First of all, when you have that type of surgery, they splitting your stomach open. He would have had a scar going down his stomach. First of all, the whole thing was just done wrong, and nobody did their research at all. But besides that, Lamar is doubting himself, and he lets Donnell Rawlings' character know that, he couldn't get his thing up. He wasn't able to knock off Meech. Like, he really doubting himself, and dude had to remind him, like, who he is. Like, you Lamar, fool. Like, you better get back on your judge. You better step your pussy up. Like, what's good? All right, get your life in order. Apparently, the pep talk worked, because after that, we see Lamar roll up on Fat Boy, who was pow-powing at him last season, and beat the sleeves up off of him. He beat him so bad with a stick or something. And Fat Boy didn't stand a chance. Like, Lamar was hitting him with some one-hitter quitters. And then to make it even worse, he split his neck open with the piece of wood, and then told him to eat his SHIT by opening his bag and letting all of the poo-poo out onto his face and mouth, which was disgusting. Oh my God, that was so nasty. Now that part was good because it was so disgusting, and that's something that I personally would have wrote myself. So that part was good, but it was still unrealistic, because once again, with somebody fresh out of a colostomy surgery, he would not be walking around like he's taking a sprint down the street. Like, I literally couldn't even walk down a flight of steps by myself, because your core is all messed up. Like, your core is not tight at all. You know how your stomach feels after you've had a baby, ladies, and how your intestines is just all willy wonky? That's how your stomach is, but worse. Like, you have no muscle control. So the fact that they just got this man walking around like it's a regular day and he going to the mall is just so unrealistic. Then they take the unrealism to a whole nother level when they then have him go run up on another op who was in on trying to take him out. And they have a whole bathroom brawl where they straight up going toe to toe, head to head, breaking glass, punching and kicking each other. They even have Lamar fall on his stomach several times where he falls on his stomach. AKA in this scene right here, you see that he literally fell onto his stomach on the sink. If he had a colostomy bag in real life, you are trying to avoid getting your stomach hit at all costs, because you have your intestine sitting outside of your stomach, people. That's literally what it is. So for somebody fresh out the hospital with a fresh colostomy bag and your intestine is sitting outside your stomach, his intestine would have ruptured or something. Like, he would have killed himself. This whole scene was so freaking stupid. He would have been dead. Like, what are you writers doing? Did anybody do any research? Did anybody take out the time? Like, I think that this was probably the worst written episode of BMF since it's been on. Like, literally, like this episode, they went into their power universe bullshit because this whole scene was so stupid. He would have been on the floor heaving for Jesus right along with old boy. First of all, he wouldn't have been able to even do any of that. As soon as old boy hit him in the stomach, he would have been down for the count and heaving and breathing, child. But he wouldn't even been able to have the energy to do none of the stuff that he did. Like, this whole part of the episode gets an F minus. A F minus. Then to round things up, Terry ends up going and meeting up with Boom after Markeisha made sure that they was at the same place at the same time. So dude was kind of hesitant to work with Terry, but end up fronting him several bricks. And he was ordering Markeisha around, and Terry, whispered in her ear, if you was my woman, you would be my wife and not my servant. And she just kind of sitting there letting it all marinate in her head or whatever. So Terry then ends up coming up with the idea to have Denise, the white girl that worked for them, to transport the bricks to the other city. Because, white people won't get pulled over, won't get, harassed like black people. But little does he know that Detective Bryant and Detective Jen are watching his every move that day. So they end up figuring out what happens. And so old girl ends up getting pulled over, and they end up finding the bricks in the compartments. And I'm like, why are y'all doing this whole bricks in the compartment part right now? That didn't happen until years later. Years later. They got this whole thing out of whack. I don't understand why they didn't stay true to what actually really happened in real life. Like, the police did not find where they were hiding the bricks and all that stuff until years later in the 2000s and stuff. I don't understand why they wrote that. Like, that was just so dumb, because that was how they were literally transporting stuff all across the United States, was via these limos and having them hidden in these compartments inside of the limo. So I don't understand why they wrote it like that. But anywho, so the white girl ended up getting pulled over by them. She ended up getting locked up. She called Terry and tell her to, come help her, get her out of jail or whatever, because she got kids. Charles end up overhearing a conversation and end up hemming Terry up and was like, you just like your brother. And Lucille was like, you just like Meech, but at least Meech's upfront was his. You was just, pretending to be a good person and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So he goes to Meech and tell Meech everything that happened. And Meech was like, you so hard-headed. I told you to go to Pat. And he was like, look, I did what I did. It's a wrap. We got to figure out something. And so Meech was like, we got to get out of Dodge then. We have to leave, and let's probably go to Atlanta because we got somebody down there that we can link up with. Now, in real life, Meech left on his own. He left and actually went to LA first. He didn't go to Atlanta first. He went to LA first and by himself. So, and that was after he had got pow-powed by dude in real life. But in the show, they have them leaving together. So Terry was like, I got something I need to do first. And he like, dude, see, this the problem now. You don't never listen. You hard-headed. So Terry goes to Markeisha's job when it's closing and tells her what's going on. And then since he's leaving, she takes him into the back and they smash for the first time. And, they saying they like each other and all that cute little stuff. So then Terry and Meech say goodbye to the family. Everybody was like, we love you. Y'all be saved. And Charles was like, y'all take care of each other. Da-da-da-da-da. They get on the road to get out of Dodge and they head into Atlanta. And lo and behold, here go Lamar giving them a chase on the road, chasing them. And they having a wild goose chase. And I'm like, what is going on here? Like, this whole situation was just stupid and just unrealistic and just over the top and just dumb. Like, I love the fact that they brought Lamar's character back, but this is just stupid at this point. It's really stupid. Like, they got Lamar out here acting like he is literally in DC Comics or a Marvel hero. Like, what is going on? Like, can we make it realistic at this point? Like, please, can we make it realistic? Because this is stupid. This really honestly is. So that somehow, some way, they're able to get rid of Lamar and head on to Atlanta. And I believe that's how the episode ended. And oh no, it ended with Detective Brian and Detective Jen was like, Denise will end up flipping on them because she don't, have no loyalty to them, and that they'll be able to get Meech and Terry. Child. Worst episode by far. Worst episode by far of season 1 and season 2. This was just all over the place, unrealistic, stupid, over dramatized, over the top, just dumb. Dumb. I give tonight's episode an F, an absolute F. F. And I ain't gave an F in I don't know how long to a show. Okay? That's how ridiculous it was. Y'all let me know what y'all thought about this mess down below in the comment section. Make sure to thumbs up this video, like and subscribe, and hit that notification bell button. I love y'all, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.